Hello, this is the third video in a series about the lore and the history of the Elite Dangerous universe. Previously, we discussed the history of the superpowers and briefly mentioned the Thargoid War. This time, we're going to discuss that Thargoid War in a bit more greater depth. This war explains the reasons for the current conflict between the Thargoids and the galactic superpowers. The war also reveals some very dark secrets and sets a precursor to something even more sinister happening in the universe of Elite. We had previously talked about how initial conflict with the Thargoids arose after a series of first contact events ended in hostilities. Who the Thargoids are and where they come from is a point of discussion based upon the multitude of lore surrounding this rich and embracing game. But this is not important right now. What is important is that the first Thargoid War revealed a darker side to those who claimed power and showed us that one commander could make a difference. In the year 3125, the war with the Thargoids was not going well. The Galactic Cooperative, or Galcop as it was known, had been fighting a bitter war with the Thargoid threat and was steadily running out of resources and vessels. The two superpowers, the Empire and the Federation, stepped in and formed a joint force called the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm, or INRA for short, to take over the fight. The battle fleet entitled INRA Attack Wing kicked into action, and whilst it would seem this new formidable fighting force was the answer to winning the war, the true strength of INRA was in its scientific division. Secret INRA science and research bases began to analyse Thargoid material gathered from the front line. Eventually, a young scientist who was working with the alien substances and fungi made a huge discovery. The discovery was hidden away and, unbeknown to the scientist involved, taken away for further testing in secret INRA weapon research labs. This research revealed an altogether darker side to INRA's remit. Using captured, live Thargoid subjects, they tested their new weapon and found it had the potential to be enormously destructive. They increased the potency of their new chemical weapon and gave it the name the Mycoid virus. Having manufactured enough of the weapon, the INRA members came up with a plan. They would make a trap. They loaded the new weapon into a chemical plant called the Carmichael Point, which was hidden on the front line of the war. They then equipped the base with what would seamlessly be naval weaponry and made enough sensory noise so as to attract the attention of the Thargoids. The plan, however, backfired, and instead of the Thargoids sending their usual fighting force, they sent a hive ship to take out the new threat. INRA realized that if they were going to use the new weapon, they had to directly deliver it to the enemy. Enter John Jameson. Jameson was a combat Cobra pilot who was quite literally a legend in his time. He was told by INRA that they had a new weapon which would disable the hyperdrives of the Thargoids and drastically reduce the ability to travel. They loaded the weapon onto his Cobra, and Jameson took off to deliver the payload. Jameson got closer to our hive ship more than anybody previously had done so, and fired the missiles carrying the new weapon. As he was making his escape, he suddenly noticed that this was no ordinary weapon. It was doing more than just damaging the Thargoids' hyperdrives. The effectiveness of the Mycoid virus was devastating. It killed thousands of Thargoids, The weapon was so strong that it literally forced the Thargoids to retreat from the war. Inra knew that when people discovered what they had done, the outcry would be enormous. To ensure the act would remain a secret, they double-crossed Commander Jameson. While setting up the payload, they also put in place a device on his Cobra that would disable the commander's controls soon after delivering the mycoid virus payload. As Jameson's vessel hurtled towards a nearby planet, the legend that was Commander Jameson sat back and recorded a number of logs to his son. It is these logs which have allowed us to know what really happened at the end of that war. But they would not be discovered for another 200 years. Jameson's actions outlined an important part of the lore and feel of the Elite Dangerous game. Together, we are stronger, but any one commander can make a difference. Inra continued to be a presence in the galaxy for the next 100 years, until eventually it was broken up and dissolved in 3253, following accusations by the Alliance that it had been involved in clandestine actions to steal a Thargoid vessel. Inra is an example of the dark history of the Elite universe. However, they outlined that there are a lot of shadowy individuals pulling strings and acting on their own agendas behind the events of the current day. In our next video, we will explore some more of these conspiracies. Thank you for watching.